So the latest patch for TFT has just dropped 14.17. It is time to talk about the new meta, as the meta has now shifted. And I'm going to show you guys the best combos you guys can play from today to climb in rank. So the first one we have is going to be Neela 3 and Katarina 3. So this build is very flexible to the point where you actually don't need to get both of them 3-star. You can choose one of them depending on how many Katarinas or Neelas you have in the beginning of the game. And if you have a lot of swords, then you should focus on Neela. If you have a lot of AP items with gloves, then Katarina is going to be the better focus. So let's say if you go for a Neela 3 route, you're going to stay at level 6, roll for Neela 3-star, and then you go to level 7. Then you can choose to Katarina 3 or just go to level 8 and just play her at 2-star. Or you go to level 7 and then you roll for Katarina 3. And you can actually buy Neela's at level 7. She will come out a lot to the point where you can 3-star Neela. But in the meantime, you're going to want to synergize this comp with Preservers and Warriors. You're going to want to pick up Gwen and Fioras. So if you do want to see Fioras and Gwen at a higher rate, then just go to level 7. Kind of just focus with Katarina 3. But Neela 3 is actually still very strong. So her best in slot for Neela, if we take a look at it here, it is Bloodthirster, Last Whisper, and Steric's Gauge. She can use other sword items like Infinity Edge. She can use Giant Slayer, Edge of Night, but I'm just showing you guys the 3 best items for her. And then for Katarina, the 2 absolute best items are always Hodge and Jewel Gauntlet. If you don't have those, she can use Ionic Spark, Bloodthirster, other AP items here like Gwen. So Gwen got a major buff. She's now very strong compared to the other forecasts. She used to be one of the weakest, but now with this new patch, she should be a carry on her own. So she likes Ionic Spark, Bloodthirster +1, so it could be blue buff. Jewel Gauntlet, Hodge, Titans, but Ionic Spark is very solid on her. If you have any other remaining sword items, then you can give it to Fiora. She's basically like Neela, so you're going to have only 4 warriors, and notice that we do not have Akali in this build. So Akali will not be used for the first time, unless if you're not going to really play Neela 3, then you can replace her as well. So with the 4 warriors, you're going to have 4 preservers, and that's going to be Rakan, Morgana, Bard, and Zillion. So your warriors are going to just heal more, and they're going to have more sustain. So that's basically the build. So you're going to focus on Katarina 3 at level 7. You can also buy Neela at that time with Gwen and Fiora, or you just roll at level 6, fast 3-star Neela, and then you can just choose to do whatever you want after that. So the next best comp we got here on the list is going to be Jinx 3 with Wukong 3. So Jinx 3 is now going to be stronger in this patch for sure. And she is best played with 4 hunters. We have Jinx, Kog'Maw, Olaf, and Twitch. Then we have Wukong 3. So this is a level 7 reroll comp. Wukong 3 is still a premier, one of the best tanks in the game. You give him at least 1 or 2 gargoyles, and he's going to tank like a beast. He will just not die. If you have triple gargoyles, great. But basically, Wukong just needs at least 1 stone plate and then 2 other tank items. And on top of that, we have Jinx here. Let's talk about her as a carry. Her best items are Ginsu, Runans, and Red Buff. So if you have these 3 items on Jinx, she'll be an absolute menace, and she'll do so much damage, hitting 2 targets at once. But she only really needs Ginsu. So if you have Ginsu, and then you can just give her 2 AD items like Infinity Edge, Last Whisper can work, Giant Slayer can also work. So Ginsu is her bread and butter. Olaf can use your melee items. He's basically like a warrior, so just give him like Fiora items, right? Like Bloodthirster and Steric's, and he's really strong. Kog'Maw, Twitch, they're all support. Bard, Zillion, Rakan, Morgana. Again, preservers are good to the point where you will use these preservers to support your team. You don't need to have Zillion. So like at level 8, you wouldn't have Zillion. It would be Bard, because then you would get the Sugarcraft. Frost is not really so important in this build. So this is it. Level 7, 3-star to Jinx and Wukong, and you're good to go. And moving on to the 3rd best comp, it is going to be the Mage reroll comp with Veigar and Vex 3. So Veigar is now back on the market. He is very strong. Once again, he loves blue buff, Nashor's, and Shojin. That's kind of his best in slot. You just have to spam his ability. That's all he wants to do. You want to buy as many charms as possible to power the Veigar up. And along with him, you're going to get the 3-star Vex tank. So Vex is one of the best tanks as well. If you have her 3-starred, she's very difficult to kill. She likes Gargoyle, Stoneplate, Ionic Spark, Crown Guard. These 3 are just perfect for her. And you're going to have 5 mages to support this comp with. So at level 7, again, you're re-rolling for Veigar 3 and Vex 3. The best mages to have are Nami, Nora, and Galio. Now, if you don't have these, of course, you can replace Nora with any other mage. You just need to get 5 mage. Or if you have a mage hat, then you can use that emblem on somebody to put a 5th mage in. And then you're going to support the rest of the team with Arcana. So Tom Kench, Hecarim, and Zerath. So, or you can also have Ari as well, right? So just fill this board in. Once you have 5 mage, just fill the board in as with many Arcanas as possible, and you're good to go. So Veigar 3, really strong. Your goal is to get him 3-star with Vex 3 at level 7 before you move on to level 8. Now, to move on to the next best build, let's go and look at this one. It is the Hui 3 Shapeshifter 3-star reroll. Hui 3 was already good in the last patch, but I believe he just got a bit stronger now. So he's going to be even more consistently better. Hui 3 is really good with Shapeshifters. Again, it's another level 7 reroll comp. There's a lot of level 7 reroll comps. You're going to be going for Nico 3, Swain 3, maybe Shyvana 3 if you do see a lot of her, but Swain 3, Hui 3, Nico 3. That's what you're looking for at level 7. Swain and Nico will have your tank items, right? So that's why I gave Swain all the tank. Hui likes Nashor's Tooth, Rabadon Deathcap, Spear of Shojin, or Blue Buff. So again, Hui is an AP caster, so he does a lot of damage that way. And then we have Smolder, who is your AD carry. And Smolder is Ginsu's and +2. So it can be Runon's, Giant Slayer, Infinity Edge, or whatnot. But Smolder just likes Ginsu, so he attacks really fast. You get the Dragon buff here. And you're going to have Briar, Shyvana. If you don't have Briar, you're going to have Nasus. But you want Shyvana for the Dragon bonus. And then you have 2 Preservers, and you have 3 Frost. So you have Zillion and Morgana, which is 2 Witchcraft with Preserver. And then you want at least 3 Frost for Hui. Any emblems like Frost Emblem, Frost Emblem, Shapeshifter Emblem, they're going to be really good for this comp. But it's, again, another level 7 reroll comp you guys can play while people are playing the other comps. And try the Hui 3 out because he is really strong right now. On to the next best comp. It is going to be Witchy Wallop Poppy with 6 Bastion. So this is going to be really strong. This build is really strong if you have the Witchy Wallop Augment. However, this build is really flexible to the point where, yes, Bastion Ari is still in the market. So she's still really strong, which means that you don't need to have Witchy Wallop. You can just play Ari 3, Poppy 3, Zoe 3, you know, the build that's been dominating for the last patch. You can go for that route. However, if you get Witchy Wallop, then it's a bit of a different story. So if you have that augment, you're going to itemize Poppy with AD items like Bloodthirster, Hodge, and Steric's Gauge. This is actually one of her best in slot right now, these 3 items. If you don't have, let's say, Steric's Gauge, you can go for a crit combo Poppy like Infinity Edge. You can go Titans, but you're going to want Bloodthirster and Hodge. I feel like these 2 items are really strong for Witch Wallop. It gives her a lot of sustain and a lot of damage. And then you're going to have 6 Bastion with Hecarim, Lilia, Nunu, Tarek, and Shen. And then you're going to have Zoe, RE3 at the back. That's it. So this is the best way to play Witchy Wallop. Ari still likes double adaptive helms, Rabadon Deathcap. And again, you can play this comp with the 4 Bastion, 4 Scholars instead if you don't have Witchy Wallop. I think RE3 is still going to perform pretty well in this patch. So just know that this build is very flexible, but I just want to show you that Poppy 3 is a very strong carry now. Okay, so let's move on to the 6th comp we have here. It is going to be a Portal Rise. We've seen this before. It has been pretty stable, and it's still good. So Rise is still one of the strongest forward costs in the game. If you give him Spear of Shojin, Red Buff, Archangel Staff, this is a really strong combo. If you don't have Red Buff, you can give him Jewel Gauntlet, but if you want to have at least Spear of Shojin and Archangel, so Rise does get infinite damage. You have Nora, Yuumi. Basically, I just have 8 portals here. So the best way to play this comp is just get 8 portals in. If you have the portal emblem, you can also have 3 mage with Nami by, let's say, dropping Jace. So having a portal emblem, if you get that, then it's kind of your sign to go for this build. But if you don't have that, you can still play this build because Nora and Yuumi is not impossible to hit. You can still hit her at level 8. Maybe if you're lucky, you get her at level 7. So you can still try to force a portal, but it is better to play it with, or easier to play it with, the portal emblem. You can also go for Ezreal items if you have attack damage items, Infinity Edge, Last Whisper, and Ez. You could also potentially 3-star Ez in this build because usually he's not contested in this sense. And for the last comp I want to show you guys is just going to be your standard Callista Flex build. This build is always going to be consistently good. And I just had to mention this for my last build here, if you guys weren't aware. This build is just going to revolve around Callista and Fiora with flexible, strong 5/4 cost units. So Nasus, Camille, Rakana, Kali, Briar, Morgana are your main front strong line front units. Fiora and Callista can do a lot of damage from the back. You can also give like Fiora items to Camille. You can also give these items to Briar. Camille and Briar are really strong. Any tank items, they go into Nasus or Rakan. But this build is one of the strongest 4 or 5 cost late game comps that will always guarantee you a top 2, if not a first. So Callista, Ginsu, Last Whisper, Fairy Crown, that's her bread and butter, very strong combo. She's always going to be good. So if you guys don't have like another build to play, then this one is always good to go into at level 8, preferably at level 9 where you can hit everything. So these are my top 7 comps you guys can abuse for patch 14.17. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Leave a like as always, because that does help my channel out a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.